I'll call the meeting to order.
Okay. The meeting has been posted according to open meeting laws.
Roll call.
President Jensen.
Here.
Trustee Alexander.
Here.
Trustee Holm.
Here.
Trustee Renucci.
Here.
Trustee Smalley.
Here.
And Trustee Wisniewski.
Here.
Thank you.
We will start with citizen participation per Village Resolution 2017-01. Anyone wishing to address the village board during citizen participation will be allowed 5 minutes. Your subject must specifically relate to matters under the jurisdiction of the village board, whether on the agenda or not. The village board should not engage in a discussion regarding comments because it is not part of the publicly noticed agenda. Upon conclusion of this citizen participation segment, members of the audience are not allowed further comment unless they're participating in a public hearing or specifically allowed by a majority vote of the village board due to involvement in an agenda item. That said. Thank you for the opportunity. Always, Mary. Okay. Seeing everybody shaking their head no, I will say we are closing citizen participation. We'll move on to consent agenda. One motion and a second will approve all the following items. Any item may be pulled from the list and voted on separately.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on. Miscellaneous business. Discussion with property owner. Item 1, discussion with property owner of 2954 Main Street regarding property maintenance issues. Mr. Siza, you want to? Do you have any? Yep, you're up. We're already on page 2. I know, sometimes government moves fast.
Hello, I'm Steve Stiza. I live in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. I do own the property on 2954 West Main Street. I am in the process of improving the property, and I did meet with the chief, and he explained to me, you know, the items that he would like to see corrected. I am in the process of correcting that, but at the same time, I did receive an offer to purchase on the property. And you know, if it passes inspection, I guess they'll close. If it doesn't, regardless, I'm still moving forward with some of the basic repairs. And there's probably one repair I don't think I'd be able to get done this year, and that would be there's some masonry work on a stoop there that needs to be corrected. But there is a judgment on the property, as I think many of you may be aware of. It's a pretty heavy club, and it's in Waukesha County and as well as Walworth County. And I guess I'd like to ask if you could remove the judgment in Waukesha County.
Can you talk a little bit about you mentioned some of the delays around the masonry work, but for the other repairs and improvements, what's your current timeline?
I'm sure in a couple of months. I mean, no more than a few months. It's really not that much. It's more getting the contractor for, I don't have a ladder tall enough to repair the gutters. I mean, the windows I can get done fairly quickly, and the door locks fairly quickly. And it's really the back door, I guess I'd have to order one and take the measurements for the hinge locations and where it's bored and have a mill shop do that. But as far as, repairing the masonry, that may take a little bit longer because it is difficult to find, masons that can jump on a job fairly quick.
Other questions from the board?
What's the estimated timeline for closing, if you would close?
December.
And are they prepared to continue those?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I need a little more context on the Waukesha judgment, or what does that mean?
It's in Waukesha County. It was filed in Waukesha County as well as Walworth County.
Yeah, if I may, the judgment stems from a bunch of municipal court citations that were, you were found guilty on, your fines were imposed. The judgment was then docketed in both Walworth County, obviously, which is the local county, and then also in Waukesha County because you own property there. And the way a judgment works, effectively it becomes a lien that attaches to whatever property you own in that county. So that's where things stand. The judgment's for $103,000. Are you able to disclose who the buyer of the property would be, or is that not something that they want to have said?
I think you know the gentleman. I'm not sure if he's even here, and I've never met him. Ray Gooden?
Okay, I was wondering if it was, okay. So, and do you actually formally have an offer, or no?
It's
Okay.
been accepted, yeah.
Okay. And the closing date would be December?
It just says, upon inspection and removing judgment, or,
So the judgment would have to be cleared in order for the closing to happen?
or I believe so, yes.
Okay.
But that you have Walworth County and Waukesha. So,
It's one judgment that's just docketed in two places, so it's just one judgment amount. It's just docketed against property in both counties.
Right. I have an offer to purchase on another property in Waukesha County that I need to sell, and it'll probably close, I think, early December also, and that's to pay some, medical bills, actually, so,
That's the property in Waukesha County?
yeah.
So your plan is to sell both properties?
Yes.
Okay.
I own, I live in Waukesha County.
Right.
And I have some vacant land in Waukesha County that I'm selling.
So you're not selling your residence, you're selling other land, okay.
Correct.
Is that masonry work structural, like, it's a front,
No,
but it's
no.
not
It's this front stoop.
just a front
It's one
stoop?
of the,
Okay.
the stairs are still, intact.
Okay.
It's just brickwork around the back stairs that go to the, I guess, rear east door. There's two doors on that side of the house. It's the back one.
What's the status of, I guess, so there's the judgment piece, but then there's also some, I think, does that judgment number include like the cost for raising the garage and other back taxes?
No, this is, I believe, just for fines from municipal court action plus whatever interest is allowed by laws rolled into that.
Yeah, that's correct. The raising of the garage is on some taxes that are due still. The raising of the garage was a charge on a tax bill that hasn't been paid yet.
And that's the 103? 103,000 or what?
That's separate from the 103,000.
Do you know how much the raising costs were? Roughly?
I do not know off the top of my head. I can look it up.
I'm able to pay the tax bill. That's not a problem.
So I will just say, I'm not sure that we as a board are prepared to make a decision for you right now. That's kind of why we're just asking some questions. You do see that we have a closed session later this evening, and the agenda we'll be discussing, and then I think we can come back to you with some direction. Either we'll take action or, direct staff as to which way we, decide.
Okay.
Any
Well-
other?
Yeah, okay. So, okay, so.
The information you've provided has been helpful, so thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So thank you for coming in.
All right.
Any other questions for Mr. Siza? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. He will be in attendance, yeah. So, yeah, that's a good way of talking. Thank you. All right, item 2, consideration of setting garbage and recycling charge for tax bills. This is something we do every year. That is not part of the actual taxes. It's a fee on the on the bill, though, that people receive. You see the memo there from Eileen and the agreement we have with John's Disposal. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to set the special charge for garbage and recycling for the 2023 tax roll at $199.36.
I'll second it.
Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, consideration of amended and restated emergency services district agreement. You see a little bit of a memo there from Eileen, but Jason, do you want to maybe catch everybody else up?
Yeah, so this isn't a full amended agreement. This is to add additional members to the commission. We felt it was best to get it as equitable as possible, not only with representatives, but also with voting. And then having the president as a tiebreaker if needed. So we felt it would be good for each municipality out there to be involved and have that equal say.
And you are also working on further revisions, but this is more to have that input for those revisions as well, correct?
That's correct. We're waiting to see kind of what some of the municipalities are doing before we do a full agreement, so that we can try to keep attorney costs down. No offense. But we've spent quite a bit on attorney fees lately, so we're trying to let that build up before we start attacking it again.
Any questions for Jason or what's going on out there?
Yeah, under Section H, officers, the election is still going to be annually. It just says that they'll elect at an annual meeting, but is that going to be actually every year there'll be an election?
Correct. So we'll
That's not
continue
what
to
it
have our
says, that's
full
right.
district meeting every year. So the agreement isn't going to change with the exception of Section 6 and then subsections D and E. Those are the only things that are changing at this time.
So if we pass this and the other municipalities pass this, is this effective in May? Is this effective in January? What are we looking at?
We would like to do it January. No, annual meeting isn't until April.
So as far as a quorum is concerned, then, it's going to really need to be 4 people, because it says commissioners representing 4 or more votes. It really needs to be 4 of the 6 people have to be there?
That'll be correct. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And then the minutes are going to be taken by a designee. Is that a designee by the president or the entire board?
No, the minutes would still be done by the secretary.
They will be done by the secretary?
Correct.
Okay.
Barb likes to do them.
She's the president.
Correct. She still likes to do them.
Okay, all right.
Up for discussion.
She can do whatever she wants.
No, she can't.
No.
If only. Other questions for Jason?
That's all I had.
The chair would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendments to the Emergency Services District Agreement.
I'll second.
Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So just now that we've passed it, is this on the agenda for the other 2 municipalities this month?
I believe so. We have a meeting later this month, so I'll make sure to circle around with everybody and see when they're going to vote on it as well.
Thank you. All right, on to ordinances and resolutions. Item 1, ordinance 2023-09, annexation ordinance. This was to change based on that property that we annexed in.
And that's being changed to highway business, right? Temporarily zoned as highway business?
Yes, that's being zoned as highway business.
Okay.
And I did want to note that there is a note that we are going to insert exhibits. The reason being, when the state reviewed it, they came back with a recommendation that we also annex the right-of-ways. So we are waiting for our engineer to provide that exhibit. So if the village board's comfortable, I would ask for an approval, provided that, staff finds the exhibits acceptable. So we would also have Tim Schwecke review that with us as well to make sure that that's correct.
Is this annexation taking all of ES then? Is going to be in the village up until the end of that property?
Oh, good question.
Did we go to the center line, or did we just go to the ditch and we're leaving? Because right now, we have the center line on the east side of the road because of Quick Trip, all the way their property, but we don't have, right now, the west side. So we share that road with the town, just enforcement-wise. But are we going to have that corner too? I mean, they have actually the town's got that corner right now.
I'm looking at the map
So
here.
if anybody makes a right turn, I mean, we share it because it's a center line, but it's still there. So I just want to know,
Since both
are
sides
we
of the
annexing
street.
out to the center line so we have that whole intersection now?
That I can't answer.
Okay.
I'm looking at the map that we were given, at least the one I have, and it shows the dotted line of the property, and the back line of that property almost ends equal with the Quick Trip property.
My question is does the line go out to the center line of ES? Because, I mean, right now, it should be out to the center line, because,
Right.
and I'll just give an example of that property that the village owns on 120. When that was annexed into the village, they only went to the ditch line. So we don't have any of 120 after Honey Creek Road. We can't enforce anything on 120 south of Honey Creek Road. Because they didn't go out, when they annexed that land, they didn't go out to the center line of the road. They only went to the ditch line. So that's why I'm asking.
So I guess we have two options, and Chris, you can chime in whether you think one is better. One would be to approve it, provided the exhibits depict to the center line, or the other would be to
I mean, I will
wait
tell you
until the
that
next meeting.
in some of our clients have had issues in the past where there's police departments that don't necessarily get along with each other, shall we say, and there's disagreements about where those lines are, and sometimes it can actually be a problem. So part of me says it's kind of beneficial if the entire roadway is in one community's jurisdiction instead of splitting it down the middle. Because it also can raise questions if you're running radar, for example, on one side of the road and you see somebody on the other side of the road doing 30 over. That can be complicated.
Well, technically, the law lets us enforce laws on the full road, even as long as you go to the center line. It just makes it easier if we just have the whole road.
Yeah, I think if you can do the whole road, I think that's the cleanest approach. But it's a policy call.
Well, and then they need to move their ATV sign.
Does somebody want a motion then to table this?
I would not table it, I would postpone it. If you table it, somebody has to pick it up.
I'll make a motion, we postpone the vote on this issue.
I will second that. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, so I think we would bring this back probably at our next meeting for budget.
Yeah, so we don't have a regular meeting scheduled on the 20th right now, but we will be having a special meeting on the 27th for the budget public hearing and adding any items we need to that agenda since we're meeting.
And that's not going to cause Ray, as a property owner, here any problems. He can wait 3 weeks.
I don't think so. I don't think he's on a plan commission agenda until December, so I don't think it should be an issue.
All right, on to reports. Airport Advisory Committee minutes from September 11th. Questions for Jim?
Yes. Jim, it talks about QR codes for a user satisfaction survey or feedback. Is that using the polymorphic software? Is that drive into polymorphic or something else?
It is not part of the polymorphic software, and I'm not sure what it is. Chelsea, I asked Chelsea to create it, and we are tracking the responses to it to be able to bring to you guys, but it is not through Polymorphic.
You
Is
can
it
do
through our website? Yeah, exactly. It's a QR code you scan, and it gives you just essentially somewhere to leave a comment, feedback. There is also one from the BOA. The BOA is looking for input from pilots and airport users on Wisconsin airports, so.
Then the next question I have is on the grass runway. Do we still have, Jason, do we still have, or Doug, where'd Doug go? There he is. You switched seats. Honest to gosh. Do we still have a roller that we use for the grass runway?
It's been a long time since it's been regularly rolled, probably 10 years, I would say at least, since anybody's done anything out there. I'm not sure the roller we currently have will be the most effective tool. I know Doug's been having some back and forth with the Airport Advisory Committee about the runway conditions. I think that's the quickest thing we can try to do to make that situation better, is to try to roll it in spring. But we're looking to maybe have to potentially rent some sort of farm field roller or something large to be able to leave that impression.
And then the last question I had on this was, are we still using Mike Stark's radio? Is that working in the FPL?
You are working on some pricing though, right? Yeah.
Some sort of ACOM base station or something like that? Yeah, okay, all right, cool.
I like the data-driven. Get us some scores on that. But, now that we have a vending machine, I would hope that those scores are a little better. All right, any other questions for Jim or Doug or Jason? All right, on to emergency services for 919. Anything here? You got questions for?
Yeah, I do. I have another one. Jason,
Of course, Trustee Renucci. I mean, Trustee Alexander.
No, it isn't about an engineer. It's not about an engineering firm at all, or a partner, a private partnership or whatever. No, nothing like that. On the report, I really hate getting numbers that mean nothing to me. So for Joe's reports. Those are nice numbers, 4 towns, one call from the town, one call from the spring, but there's nothing to compare it against, so the data itself is kind of useless to me. And I would really love to see if Joe's still making those charts.
Yes.
Those get input into the minutes, so we can actually see trending information, so we know whether something's getting worse, getting better, because a number, next month I'm not going to matter. I'm not going to remember what that number was, so I can't tell if it's getting better or worse.
He does a Chiefs report. He just started doing that as well. And I believe all of that has those numbers in there, so we can look at putting the Chiefs report into the packet as well. Otherwise, we'll get that data in there for you.
Because if we could just get his report in here, then, the secretary wouldn't have to scribe all that, I'm just saying.
The secretary apparently is not doing that.
We weren't asking for what that person hears.
That's, okay. Other questions? Jason, anything you want to highlight?
No.
Okay. Item 3, Booth Lake Memorial Park minutes for 9/27. Do you want to talk about some of the developments since then, Joe?
As far as the treasurer? Yeah, so the treasurer submitted her resignation last week, so we are without a treasurer right now. So we'll be working on that probably in the next week or two.
On a positive note, the idea of the swim race that you guys talked about and Jerry spoke to me about at one point, that would be a really big draw for everybody in all
Yeah,
three
could be.
communities, yeah, so.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so let us know if there's something you need from us to help make that happen.
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
How'd the closing of the park go? Everything going pretty good?
Yeah, everything was fine, yeah, except the resignation, so. Yeah. So,
And just a curious, excuse me, the boat launch is going to stay open, but like, not open for boats but so much as just for access to the lake for ice fishermen and stuff?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, we still plan on doing that. We did not talk about the ice skating rink yet, though, so probably talk about it this meeting. November.
Hopefully it's colder to do those things this year than it was last winter, so. Anything else for Joe? All right, item 4, Community Development Authority minutes from all the way back in July 24th, 2023. Questions for Jim? Okay. Then I will make a motion to adjourn to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 1985 and Wisconsin Statute 1985 1E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting of other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and 1985 1G, to confer with legal counsel for governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or likely to become involved. 2954 Main Street. Can I get a second?
Second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Roll call.
President Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Alexander?
Yes.
Trustee Holm?
Yes.
Trustee Renucci? Trustee Smalley?
Yes.
And Trustee Wisniewski?
Yes.
Thank you.